Ladies and gentlemen, today we're checking out this really cool looking map, I thought, that's set in the Civil War. And this is in Black Ops 3 Custom Zombies, of course. This map is called Gettysburg, and it's created by Gettysburg 5. And looking at the map before hopping in, it looked really cool, unique setting, of course, Civil War. Never seen anything like that, I don't think, in a Zombies map so far. So, of course, there's Civil War era weaponry, amongst, you know, some special stuff, I guess, wonder weapons and stuff like that. So I started off the match just kind of looking around, surviving. I noticed these cool machinery and contraptions around, but we'll get to those later, I guess, when we get power on. And I noticed almost right away that there's these soul boxes around, and they appear to be the Confederate hats and the Union hats, and you simply have to fill them up. And I later learned that this was actually the first step of the Easter egg, that there's 10 of these around the entire map, and you have to fill up all of them. But upon filling them up, they seem to give you a random drop, and more often than not, I'd say, I'd usually actually get a free perk, so that was pretty helpful, actually. And since the weaponry is about time period specific, I was stuck with using a lot of melee weapons early on, and revolvers, which I can't complain too much about, because they were kind of cool. I noticed there was actually different buildings and areas to open up, so I opened up a barn area here and started filling up a soul box inside, as well as I was looking around for parts, because there appeared to be some parts around. I noticed the Einhorn revolving shotgun was on the wall, which meant that's really cool that there's a Vanguard, you know, shotgun in Black Ops 3. Also, there was some sort of portal here, which we had to figure out how to open up, so I just continued filling up soul boxes, and then I opened up into the main kind of house area. And the mystery box was actually in there, because I was aiming to get there the entire time. I spun the box a few times because I just kept getting melee weapons and revolvers, and I finally got the ray gun Mark II and the lever action rifle, the Ironhide. So I filled up the soul boxes around there, looked around for more parts, got a bunch of points so I could open up the rest of the map, but there was a lot of doors, so I didn't necessarily get to it right away, because there's a lot of little areas, and I did find the power switch actually right outside that farmhouse in this little shack out here. Appears to be some sort of outhouse, something like that, and the power was just inside, and it was a cool looking contraption. So then I started opening up the other side of the map, filling up more soul boxes, and I noticed this kind of machinery here, and I was wondering what it was, and it looks like it is the Wonder Fizz, which looks really cool. So I kept opening up the map and following the pathways, because it appears to be a big giant circle, excluding the kind of middle area. I also did find another part in the wagon as well. Built up more soul boxes until I looped back around to spawn, and then I made my way to the Wonder Fizz where it was located, and I just have to point out this contraption that it's made out of looks really cool, and obviously they're trying to make it time era specific. The next round, I noticed there was some shaking going on, like an earthquake, and then I noticed the boss zombie running around a mini-boss, and it appears to be Abraham Lincoln, I believe, a zombified Abraham Lincoln, who we are fighting. But after getting pushed back quite a bit with a bunch of zombies and the zombie Abraham Lincoln, I switched to my Mark II to finish them all off. I then just spent a while spinning that Wonder Fizz before we actually got into starting the Easter egg. After finding all the parts, I was actually able to go back into the barn and finally craft the kind of wires to start up this teleporter. I then spent another round or so getting enough points and trying to get a decent weapon that I was willing to pack-a-punch, because we're probably going to need it if we're going to be doing this Easter egg. So I went into the teleporter, which, might I add, looks pretty cool, and even the teleport animation was pretty unique. And it actually teleported us to this new area of the map where the mystery box now was. And it seems the zombies will actually show up here and spawn here, so it's just a whole other section of the map only accessible through teleporter. But I just kept spinning the box looking for different things to upgrade, and I finally just settled on upgrading the Python, which turned out to be a decent decision overall. And I just have to point out that the Pack-a-Punch machine was really cool looking, really unique, so I really appreciate all the unique designs for stuff on this map. I also ended up spinning the box and getting the Paralyzer, which was nice to see and kind of surprising. They have a lot of unique weaponry on this map, so it was cool to get some other stuff. So throughout the rest of the match, I did kind of spend the box and get different weapons. So throughout the gameplay, you might see me with different stuff later on in the Easter egg. So after filling up all the soul boxes, there's only 10, as I mentioned, it opens up this new little section of the map. And inside there was just kind of these 3 altars, and then some pieces kind of teleported away, and then there was this gramophone on the ground, which I activated, and they mentioned something about getting cannonballs, as you can hear here. So then I had to go and collect the materials to craft cannonballs. So funnily enough, we actually needed the paralyzer to do this, because you actually need to use it to fly up onto different rooftops to collect the pieces. The first one was a piece of rope on top of the barn, which took me a while to get used to, because I am running the Pegasus Mod, and the exfil option kept kind of interrupting my ability to pick it up, but I eventually managed to pick up the rope on the roof. I then had to place this rope in the cotton maker in spawn and had to survive a lockdown there of 2 rounds, or 1 full round. If you start it 1 round, like with the last zombie, kill the zombie, and then you just have to survive the next round there. And then you could pick up the finished rope and move on to get the next piece. So then the next one was over at Pack-a-Punch, just had to fly up there on top of the rock, grab that piece, which was just a metal pipe, and then take it into the farmhouse and throw it in the fireplace and have to survive another lockdown there to get the finished part. And lastly, I needed gunpowder, which was on top of the farmhouse itself, so I had to fly up there with the paralyzer and collect it. And then this was probably the most dangerous lockdown, for I had to survive inside the cornfields in the middle. It's kind of like a maze area. So it was pretty hectic, but thankfully I had gotten the Gatling gun. It was a crank Gatling gun from the mystery box, which proved to be very useful, especially upgraded, so as well as I had the paralyzers. So all that ended up protecting me and getting me through the rounds in there. So once I finished getting all 3 of those parts, I placed them back at the altars, and then a burlap sack dropped in front of the altar and I picked it up. I could then take all these materials to the cannon outside the farmhouse, place the cannonball inside of the cannon, light the fuse, and it would blast open this new small building. And inside was a Nagarthan device I could pick up, as well as the gumball machine, so I just kind of spun that a little bit. With this Nagarthan device, it would then allow me to go to the Pack-a-Punch teleporter and escape for 71,863 points. How specific. But with that, the Easter egg was pretty much completed, and it was going to take a while to double my points to get to 70k, and I was kind of in a hurry, so I simply called in the exfil with the Pegasus Mod. But then the chopper finally arrived somehow in this dimension of the Civil War era, and after barely surviving an onslaught of zombies, I finally ziplined up to the chopper and was able to exfil and claim my free rank up token. But nonetheless guys, this map is called Gettysburg. It'll be linked in the description down below alongside the Pegasus Mod for those interested, but I think it was a really cool map and a very unique setting, so shout out to the map maker because it was really cool. But nonetheless, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.